Myths of Hercules and his 12 labors. Friends, welcome to our channel. Today we'll dive into the fascinating world of ancient Greek mythology and explore one of its most iconic stories, the myth of Hercules and his 12 labors. It's a captivating journey into the past, where strength, courage, and wit meet extraordinary challenges. Get comfortable and let's begin. The myths of Hercules are among the most famous tales in ancient Greek mythology. They symbolize humanity's struggle against nature, inner demons, and divine fate. Hercules, a demigod and the son of Zeus, and a mortal woman, Alcmene, became a symbol of strength, courage, and redemption. His life was filled with trials, but it was the 12 labors assigned to him by King Eurystheus that brought Hercules immortal fame. These tasks, requiring immense physical and moral strength, were a test for the hero seeking to atone for a crime committed under the influence of the goddess Hera. Today, we'll delve into each of these labors and discover how Hercules earned his place among the Olympian gods. The first labor, slaying the Nemean lion. The first of Hercules' labors recounts his battle with the Nemean lion, a ferocious beast that terrorized the inhabitants of the Nemean valley. This labor symbolizes the beginning of Hercules' heroic journey, testing his endurance, strength, and ingenuity. The Nemean lion was no ordinary creature. According to myths, it was the offspring of monstrous parents, Typhon and Echidna, or in other accounts, a descendant of Selene, the goddess of the moon. The lion possessed an impenetrable hide that no arrow or sword could pierce. The beast terrorized the region, killing livestock and attacking travelers. The people of Nemea, unable to deal with the monster, appealed to King Eurystheus for help. The king, eager to challenge Hercules, tasked him with this seemingly impossible mission. Hercules journeyed to the Nemean valley to track down the beast. The lion was a cunning adversary, living in a cave with 2 exits, which allowed it to elude its pursuers. Hercules studied the terrain and discovered tracks leading to the cave. Armed with a bow, sword, and his massive club, the hero prepared for the confrontation. Upon spotting the lion in a clearing, Hercules shot an arrow, which, as foretold, bounced off the beast's unyielding hide. Realizing that weapons were ineffective, Hercules relied on his strength and wit. He drove the lion back into its cave and blocked one of the exits to prevent its escape. Facing the beast head-on, Hercules engaged in a brutal hand-to-paw struggle, ultimately strangling the lion with his bare hands. This moment showcased not only his physical prowess, but also his fearlessness in the face of danger. After defeating the lion, Hercules skinned it to use its hide as armor. However, the hide was so tough that even a knife couldn't cut it. According to legend, Hercules used the lion's own sharp claws to flay it. Wearing the hide as a cloak and fashioning the lion's head into a helmet, Hercules gained a protective armor that became a signature part of his image, symbolizing his triumph over the first great threat. When Hercules returned to Eurystheus, the king was so intimidated by the hero and his trophy that he forbade him from entering the city. From then on, Eurystheus communicated with Hercules through messengers and observed his labors from the safety of a bronze jar. This first labor carries profound symbolic meaning. The Nemean lion represents primal fear and chaos, which the hero had to overcome to prove his readiness for greater challenges. The slaying of the lion underscores that true strength lies not just in physical power, but also in ingenuity and adaptability. The lion's hide, transformed into armor, symbolizes the protection Hercules gained through his courage. This labor also serves as the starting point of Hercules' heroic career, setting the tone for a journey of struggle, triumph, and survival under the most challenging conditions. The second labor, slaying the Lernaean Hydra. After successfully completing his first task, King Eurystheus, eager to further test Hercules, sent him to the swamps of Lerna, where another fearsome monster awaited. This time, Hercules faced the Lernaean Hydra, a serpent-like creature with multiple heads that was terrorizing the countryside with its poisonous breath and venomous blood. The Hydra was another offspring of the monstrous Typhon and Echidna, making it a sibling of the Nemean lion. This creature had 9 heads in most accounts, but the exact number varies depending on the version of the myth. One of its heads was immortal, while the others regenerated. For every head Hercules severed, 2 more would grow in its place. The Hydra's blood and breath were so toxic that merely approaching it posed a deadly risk. Accompanied by his nephew Iolaus, Hercules made his way to the Hydra's lair near the springs of Amymone in the marshes of Lerna. The creature's lair was a dark, damp cave surrounded by a poisonous mist. To force the Hydra out into the open, Hercules used flaming arrows, shooting them into the cave. Enraged, the monster emerged, hissing and snapping its many heads. Hercules charged, armed with his club, and began his assault. Hercules soon discovered the Hydra's regenerative power when 2 heads grew in place of each severed one. Realizing brute force alone would not suffice, he devised a new strategy. Hercules asked Iolaus to assist him. As Hercules struck off each head, Iolaus used a burning torch to cauterize the wound, preventing new heads from sprouting. Together, they worked systematically, overcoming the seemingly insurmountable challenge. Finally, Hercules reached the immortal head. Knowing it couldn't be destroyed, he severed it and buried it deep beneath a heavy boulder, ensuring it would never pose a threat again. After slaying the Hydra, Hercules dipped his arrows into its venomous blood. From that moment forward, his arrows became lethal weapons, capable of inflicting instant death even with the slightest wound. However, King Eurystheus refused to credit this labor to Hercules. He argued that Iolaus's assistance invalidated the accomplishment, even though the teamwork was crucial for success. This ruling frustrated Hercules, but only motivated him to continue his labors with renewed determination. The Lernaean Hydra represents a complex array of challenges, much like problems that grow worse if not addressed properly. Each regenerating head symbolizes difficulties that multiply when tackled without strategy or foresight. Hercules' approach teaches the importance of adaptability and resourcefulness. By using fire to prevent regeneration, he exemplifies the necessity of innovative thinking and teamwork in overcoming persistent problems. The immortal head, buried under a boulder, signifies the enduring nature of certain challenges. While some problems can't be completely eradicated, they can be contained and rendered harmless. The third labor, capturing the Ceryneian Hind. Having tested Hercules' strength in his first 2 labors, Eurystheus now aimed to test his patience and cunning. The third task involved capturing the Ceryneian Hind, a sacred deer with extraordinary speed and beauty that belonged to the goddess Artemis. The Ceryneian hind was no ordinary deer. It was said to have golden fur and antlers of pure silver, making it a breathtaking sight. The hind was so swift that it could outrun an arrow, and it was under the protection of Artemis, the goddess of the hunt and wilderness. To harm or kill the hind would invoke Artemis's wrath, making this task as delicate as it was difficult. Hercules tracked the hind across mountains, forests, and rivers for an entire year. The chase tested his endurance, patience, and respect for divine creatures. Instead of relying on brute force, he waited for the right moment. Finally, Hercules caught the hind as it stopped to drink at a stream. With incredible precision and care, he ensnared it in a net, ensuring it remained unharmed. As Hercules carried the hind back to Eurystheus, he encountered Artemis and her brother Apollo. Furious that her sacred animal had been captured, Artemis confronted Hercules. He explained that the task was imposed by Eurystheus and that he intended no harm to the creature. Moved by Hercules' honesty and respect for the hind, Artemis allowed him to complete his task. Provided the hind would be released unharmed afterward, Hercules delivered the hind to Eurystheus, who intended to keep it for himself. However, as soon as the hind was released, it escaped back to Artemis, eluding the king's grasp. This labor symbolizes respect for nature and divine authority. It highlights Hercules' ability to balance duty with reverence for higher powers. The chase also underscores the importance of persistence and patience, virtues that complement physical strength. The fourth labor, capturing the Erymanthian boar. For his next challenge, Hercules was tasked with capturing the Erymanthian boar alive. This monstrous creature roamed Mount Erymanthos, terrorizing the surrounding villages and farmlands. Unlike the previous labors, this one demanded not only Hercules' strength, but also his ability to subdue a wild and powerful beast without killing it. The Erymanthian boar was a massive, ferocious animal with sharp tusks capable of ripping through armor. Its rampage left a trail of destruction in its wake, making it a constant source of fear for those living near its habitat. Hercules tracked the boar to its home in the dense, snowy forests of Mount Erymanthus. Using his knowledge of the terrain and the animal's behavior, he laid a trap. Hercules chased the boar tirelessly through the thick forest and up the mountain slopes, forcing it into deep snow, where it could no longer move as swiftly. Seizing the opportunity, Hercules leapt onto the boar and restrained it with unyielding strength, tying it securely with the chains. Hercules brought the boar back to King Eurystheus, who, upon seeing the beast, was so terrified that he hid inside a large bronze jar and refused to come out. This humorous moment, often depicted in ancient art, highlights Eurystheus's cowardice in contrast to Hercules' bravery. The Erymanthian boar represents untamed nature and the destructive power of unchecked aggression. By capturing the beast alive, Hercules demonstrates his ability to dominate chaos without resorting to unnecessary violence. This labor also symbolizes the importance of strategy and perseverance in overcoming formidable challenges. The fifth labor, cleaning the Augean stables. Hercules' next task seemed less heroic at first glance, but was no less daunting. He was ordered to clean the stables of King Augean, which housed thousands of cattle and had not been cleaned for years. The accumulation of manure posed a significant health hazard, and the stench could be smelled from miles away. The Augean stables were vast, and the task seemed impossible to complete in a single day, as required by Eurystheus. Furthermore, the sheer filth of the stables was considered an insult to Hercules, a hero of great renown. Nevertheless, he approached the task with his characteristic determination. Rather than attempting to clean the stables manually, Hercules devised a clever plan. He redirected the courses of two nearby rivers, the Alpheus and the Peneus, causing their waters to flow through the stables. The rushing rivers washed away the years of accumulated filth in a matter of hours, completing the task in record time. Before undertaking the task, Hercules had struck a deal with King Augean. If he succeeded in cleaning the stables in one day, he would receive 1/10 of the king's cattle as payment. However, after Hercules completed the task, Augean refused to honor the agreement, claiming that the feat was only possible because of divine assistance. Enraged by the king's deceit, Hercules later returned to punish Augean, exacting justice and securing his rightful reward. The Augean stables symbolize overwhelming challenges that may seem insurmountable at first glance. Hercules' innovative solution illustrates the importance of thinking creatively and using available resources to solve complex problems. This labor also highlights themes of justice and integrity, as Hercules confronted Augean for his dishonesty. The sixth labor, driving away the Stymphalian birds. Hercules' sixth task took him to the marshy region of Lake Stymphalian in Arcadia, where he faced a terrifying flock of monstrous man-eating birds. These creatures, sacred to Ares, the god of war, were not only a threat to local villagers, but also to the very balance of the natural environment. The Stymphalian birds were unlike any ordinary creatures. According to myth, their feathers were made of sharp metal, which they could shoot like arrows at their enemies. Their beaks and talons were equally deadly, and they ravaged crops and the livestock, leaving devastation in their wake. Nesting in the dense marshes around the lake, these birds were nearly impossible to approach due to the treacherous terrain. When Hercules arrived at Lake Stymphalian, he realized that a direct assault on the birds would be both dangerous and ineffective. To complete the task, he called upon divine assistance. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, provided Hercules with a pair of bronze clappers known as crotala, crafted by the god Hephaestus. These noisemakers produced a loud, piercing sound that would disrupt the birds' nesting and force them into the open sky. Hercules climbed a nearby hill and used the crotala to create an overwhelming noise. Startled, the birds took flight in a chaotic swarm. As they fled, Hercules skillfully shot many of them down with his arrows, which had been dipped in the poisonous blood of the Lernaean Hydra. The surviving birds flew far away, never to return to Lake Stymphalian. The Stymphalian birds symbolize destructive and chaotic forces that disrupt harmony in the world. Hercules' use of cunning and divine assistance to overcome this challenge demonstrates the importance of intellect and resourcefulness in achieving success. This labor also highlights the interplay between humans and nature, emphasizing the need to restore balance when it is threatened. The seventh labor, capturing the Cretan bull. For his seventh labor, Hercules traveled to Crete to capture a magnificent yet fearsome creature, the Cretan bull. This beast, associated with the god Poseidon, had become a symbol of divine wrath and a source of destruction. The bull was sent by Poseidon to King Minos of Crete as a sign of divine favor. However, when Minos refused to sacrifice the bull as an offering to the god, Poseidon cursed the creature, turning it wild and uncontrollable. The bull rampaged through Crete, destroying crops and homes and causing chaos among the people. When Hercules arrived in Crete, King Minos was eager to rid his kingdom of the bull and gladly allowed the hero to attempt its capture. Hercules confronted the bull in the open fields, using his incredible strength and agility to wrestle it into submission. After an intense struggle, he managed to subdue the creature without causing it harm. Hercules brought the Cretan bull back to King Eurystheus, who was once again terrified by the sight of the creature. Eurystheus released the bull, allowing it to wander freely. The bull eventually made its way to the plains of Marathon in Greece, where it became known as the Marathonian bull and was later defeated by the hero Theseus. The Cretan bull represents uncontrolled power and the consequences of defying the divine will. Hercules' ability to tame the beast reflects the hero's mastery over chaotic forces and his role as a mediator between the gods and humanity. This labor also underscores the recurring theme of redemption, as Hercules works to restore order to a world disrupted by divine and mortal conflicts. The eighth labor, capturing the mares of Diomedes. Hercules' eighth task required him to subdue and bring back the mares of Diomedes, a group of wild, man-eating horses owned by the Thracian king Diomedes. These animals were a symbol of the unchecked brutality of war and tyranny. The mares of Diomedes were kept tethered to a bronze manger in the stables of the warlike Diomedes, a son of Ares, the god of war. These horses were no ordinary beasts. Their diet consisted of human flesh, and their violent nature made them nearly impossible to control. Their very presence terrorized the region, as Diomedes would feed his enemies to the horses, further solidifying his reputation as a cruel and savage ruler. Hercules, accompanied by a group of companions, arrived in Thrace to confront Diomedes and his deadly horses. Knowing that subduing the mares would be a dangerous task, Hercules first decided to deal with their master. Some versions of the myth suggest that Hercules and his companions engaged Diomedes and his forces in battle, defeating them with strategy and strength. Once Diomedes was defeated, Hercules faced the challenge of taming the horses. According to one account, Hercules fed Diomedes himself to the mares, which temporarily sated their hunger and calmed their savage nature. This act not only eliminated the source of their violent tendencies, but also symbolically turned their aggression back on their master. After subduing the horses, Hercules led them back to King Eurystheus. On the journey, he encountered various obstacles, but his strength and determination ensured that the task was completed. Once the mares were presented to Eurystheus, the king dedicated them to Hera, who released them into the wild. The horses eventually wandered to Mount Olympus, where they were devoured by wild beasts. The mares of Diomedes symbolized the destructive and insatiable nature of unchecked power and brutality. By defeating Diomedes and taming the horses, Hercules demonstrates the triumph of justice and order over chaos and savagery. This labor also highlights the hero's ability to adapt to complex situations, using both physical might and psychological insight to overcome his challenges. The ninth labor, retrieving the belt of Hippolyta. Hercules' ninth labor took him to the land of the Amazons, a tribe of fierce warrior women, to retrieve the magical belt of their queen Hippolyta. This task tested Hercules' diplomatic skills as well as his strength. The belt of Hippolyta was a symbol of her authority as queen of the Amazons, and was said to have been a gift from Ares, the god of war. Eurystheus' daughter, Admete, desired this belt and convinced her father to assign the task to Hercules. Hercules and his companions set sail for the land of the Amazons, located near the Black Sea. The Amazons, known for their martial prowess and independence, were initially wary of the hero's arrival. However, Hercules managed to secure an audience with Queen Hippolyta. According to some versions of the myth, Hippolyta was impressed by Hercules and willingly agreed to give him the belt, recognizing the nobility of his quest. However, Hera, ever the antagonist, intervened by spreading rumors among the Amazons that Hercules planned to abduct their queen. This incited the Amazons to attack Hercules and his men. Forced to defend himself, Hercules fought valiantly against the Amazons. Despite their skill and courage, the Amazons were ultimately no match for the hero. In the chaos, Hercules killed Hippolyta and took the belt. In other accounts, Hippolyta survived, but her kingdom suffered greatly from the confrontation. Hercules returned to Eurystheus with the belt, fulfilling the task. The belt became a symbol of his ability to overcome challenges not only through force, but also through negotiation and cunning when necessary. The belt of Hippolyta represents power and the complexities of leadership. This labor explores themes of trust, betrayal, and the consequences of misunderstanding. Hercules' interactions with the Amazons highlight the importance of balance between strength and diplomacy, as well as the challenges of navigating relationships with those who hold differing values and loyalties. The 10th labor, stealing the cattle of Geryon. For his 10th task, Hercules was sent to the far western edge of the known world to retrieve the cattle of Geryon, a monstrous giant who ruled the island of Erythea. This labor was a test of endurance, strength, and ingenuity, as it required Hercules to traverse vast distances and confront formidable challenges. Geryon was a fearsome figure, often depicted as a giant with 3 bodies joined at the waist, 3 heads, and 6 arms. He owned a magnificent herd of red cattle, which were guarded by Orthrus, a 2-headed dog, and a herdsman named Eurytion. The cattle were a prized possession, symbolizing wealth and power. The journey to Erythea was itself an extraordinary feat. To reach the island, Hercules had to travel across deserts, mountains, and seas. At one point, while crossing the scorching Libyan desert, he became so enraged by the intense heat that he shot an arrow at the sun. Apollo, impressed by Hercules' boldness, gifted him a golden cup, which the hero used as a boat to sail across the ocean to Erythea. Upon arriving at Erythea, Hercules faced Orthrus, the 2-headed dog, who lunged at him to protect the cattle. Hercules dispatched the beast with a single blow from his club. Next, he encountered Eurytion, the herdsman, who met a similar fate. Finally, Geryon himself appeared to confront Hercules. Armed with a massive club and his poisoned arrows, Hercules engaged in a fierce battle. Using his skill as an archer, Hercules shot an arrow tipped with the venom of the Lernaean Hydra, striking Geryon and killing him. With Geryon defeated, Hercules gathered the cattle and began the long journey back to Mycenae. Along the way, he encountered numerous challenges. At one point, the cattle wandered into Italy, and Hercules had to retrieve them. He also fought various local rulers who sought to steal the herd. One of the most notable episodes occurred when the god Poseidon sent a flood to impede Hercules' progress. Undeterred, the hero pillowed rocks into the water to create a pathway, showcasing his resourcefulness and determination. After a long and arduous journey, Hercules successfully delivered the cattle to Eurystheus. As with previous labors, Eurystheus sacrificed the cattle to Hera in an attempt to diminish Hercules' glory. The cattle of Geryon symbolize wealth, authority, and the rewards of perseverance. Geryon, with his three bodies, represents the unity of strength, intellect, and spirit, which Hercules must overcome to succeed. This labor also emphasizes Hercules' role as a civilizing hero who brings order to the chaotic and untamed edges of the world. The 11th labor, the apples of the Hesperides. This penultimate labor required Hercules to retrieve the golden apples of the Hesperides, sacred fruits that conferred immortality. The apples were a gift from Gaia, the earth, to Zeus and Hera, and were guarded by the Hesperides, nymphs of the evening, and a fearsome dragon named Ladon. The golden apples were housed in a garden at the westernmost edge of the world, a place of great mystery and danger. Their divine nature made them a symbol of ultimate reward and the unattainable. Hercules began his quest without knowing the exact location of the garden. His journey led him across many lands where he encountered various figures from myth. Antaeus, a giant who drew strength from the earth. Hercules defeated him by lifting him off the ground and crushing him in a bear hug. Prometheus. Hercules freed the Titan from his eternal torment by killing the eagle that preyed on him. In gratitude, Prometheus provided crucial information about the location of the garden. Atlas agreed and retrieved the apples. However, upon his return, he attempted to trick Hercules into permanently taking his burden. Hercules feigned agreement, but cleverly asked Atlas to hold the sky again momentarily while he adjusted his position. Once Atlas took back the heavens, Hercules seized the apples and departed. Hercules brought the golden apples to Eurystheus, but the sacred fruits were returned to the gods, as mortal hands could not retain them. The apples of the Hesperides represent ultimate knowledge and divine reward. This labor underscores the importance of intellect and cunning alongside strength. By outsmarting Atlas, Hercules demonstrates his wisdom and resourcefulness, proving that heroism is as much about wit as it is about might. The 12th labor, capturing Cerberus. The final and most challenging labor of Hercules was to descend into the underworld and bring back Cerberus, the three-headed guard dog of Hades. This task represented the ultimate confrontation with death and served as a testament to Hercules' unparalleled courage and strength. Cerberus was no ordinary dog. He had 3 heads, a serpent for a tail, and snakes protruding from his back. As the loyal guardian of Hades, Cerberus ensured that no soul could escape the underworld and that no living being could enter without permission. Capturing such a creature was considered impossible for any mortal. Before embarking on his journey to the underworld, Hercules sought guidance from the Eleusinian mysteries, sacred rites that offered initiates protection and knowledge about navigating the realm of the dead. This preparation emphasized the spiritual dimension of his labor, as he sought not just physical strength, but also divine favor. Hercules also approached the gods for assistance. Hades allowed him to enter the underworld on the condition that he would not harm Cerberus with weapons and must rely solely on his strength to subdue the beast. Hercules descended into the underworld through a cave likely located at Cape Tainaran in the southern Peloponnese. As he ventured deeper, he encountered the souls of the dead and various figures from myth. Hercules freed Theseus, who had been trapped in the underworld for attempting to abduct Persephone. However, Pirithous was left behind, as his crime was deemed unforgivable. The spirit of Meleager inspired Hercules to later marry Deianira, Meleager's sister, setting the stage for future tragedy in Hercules' life. At last, Hercules reached the throne of Hades and Persephone. With their permission, he approached Cerberus. Following the agreement with Hades, Hercules did not use his club or arrows. Instead, he wrestled the monstrous creature with his bare hands, enduring the bites of its 3 heads and the venom of its serpentine tail. Using his immense strength and unyielding determination, Hercules managed to subdue Cerberus, wrapping his powerful arms around the beast and forcing it into submission. With Cerberus in tow, Hercules ascended from the underworld and brought the fearsome creature to Eurystheus. The sight of the underworld's guardian terrified the cowardly king, who immediately ordered Hercules to return Cerberus to Hades. Hercules complied, ensuring that the natural order of life and death remained intact. The capture of Cerberus symbolizes humanity's confrontation with mortality. By descending into the realm of the dead and returning unscathed, Hercules achieves a form of symbolic immortality, proving his worthiness to ascend to Olympus. This labor also represents the culmination of Hercules' journey. He has faced and overcome his inner demons, physical challenges, and spiritual trials, emerging as a hero who transcends the mortal condition. Cerberus, a symbol of death's inevitability, is subdued but not destroyed, underscoring the theme that death is an inescapable part of existence that must be confronted with courage and acceptance. The 12th labor concludes the cycle of Hercules' heroic deeds, marking the transition from his mortal struggles to his eventual apotheosis as a god on Mount Olympus. Would you like me to elaborate further on any aspects of this labor or its significance? Conclusion. The story of Hercules serves as an eternal reminder that challenges and obstacles should never stop us. Each of his labors teaches us valuable lessons about the importance of resilience, courage, and the pursuit of justice. Thank you for watching this episode to the end. If you enjoyed it and want to learn more about myths, legends, and heroic tales, make sure to subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Let us know in the comments which of Hercules' labors you found the most fascinating and we'll see you in the next episode.